What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Uncaged podcast. If you don't know, this channel is all entirely about the journey to the top 1%. And how do we get there? It's by becoming 1% better daily. Today, we're going to be talking about, I've unfortunately witnessed hundreds of people losing millions of dollars collectively in search for overnight success. And I also have, let's just say, invested a little over $100,000 in this learning lesson. Throughout this process, there might be some of these people that listen to this and they've done this same thing. They've made the same mistake, gone down the same educational path. So I'm in the same boat. By no means am I pointing the fingers at anyone without obviously taking a good internal look into myself. But I've gone down a path of this, like, thinking that passive income is this, this escape from reality, gets you out of the rat race. You start becoming independently wealthy in a very short amount of time with very little amount invested, right? Now, some of you might be looking at $100,000 and saying, that's a lot of money. Some saying it's not that much money. Whatever it is, wherever you are. And also, too, because I know some of these people that they have invested some of their hard-earned money into things like stocks, bonds, insurances, this, that, crypto, whatever. I'm simply saying, off of my experience, I have literally first-handedly witnessed hundreds of people investing millions of dollars in this concept of cash flow, of a passive income source, and things of that nature. And again, myself included. Now, some of those investments, and again, we're gonna call that an educational moment. But a lot of that investments, people did not get the promised passive income out of that. They got the opportunity to learn a very valuable lesson, obviously. Some of those vehicles that were at some point very, very profitable. Unfortunately, they are built on someone else's platform. They are built on a platform that other people controlled the destiny of that money. And if I'm being honest, out of everything that I've learned, the house always wins. What do I mean by that, right? Obviously, the terminology comes from gambling, right? Do people win at gambling? Yes, they do. Which is kind of my testament to some of these people that'll come on here and, make these claims that they've invested money into the stock markets and now they're millionaires, this, that, whatever. And again, I'm here for it. We've got financial advisors in the group that are incredible with the stock market, stocks and bonds, S&Ps, insurances, infinite bank, like you name it. There's a lot of really cool investment strategies. But if you start to look at these investment strategies, they are all long plays. And if I'm being honest, it's all fake money until it hits your bank, right? And now, obviously, don't come after me. I just want to play the devil's advocate here because I joke with some of my friends that have been very, very high up in the crypto market and then been very, very low and everything in between. And it's always funny when they come talking about their gains or the profits that they have at this incredible wallet that they have, but yet they never take the money out, right? Like diamond hands, bro. Like, okay, well, what's the point of it? No, again, like I don't want you guys coming after me and attacking me saying like, well, it's an investment. It's a long play. I totally understand. However, this type of conversation needs to be better handled one-on-one, individually, in person, whatever the case is, because there's multiple facets here to take into consideration before anyone can deem one was a right choice, one was a wrong choice. I'm strictly here to say that firsthand, I have seen more people be willing to take their hard-earned money and give it to something, albeit risky, in this ideology that there is such thing as overnight success. And I'm here to say that there isn't. And the completely polarizing experience that I've had is because I've had this expensive educational moment over 100 grand invested. It's something that I at least want to bring awareness to, and saying that the things that are worth having take time building. And, it was a moment where I was reaching out to, my mentor, my business coach, almost in tears in the gym, talking about Uncaged and where we were, coming from, such fresh wounds of losing investments and having this learning lesson. And, really what I thought was putting in the work to acquiring this overnight success into a situation where, like, we had to literally pivot our entire family dynamic to make the right decision to build a sustainable legacy type business. And it was that moment where, like, again, almost in tears in the middle of the gym, where I realized what we were doing and that we were doing things the right way. And it was funny because this entire process throughout the conversation, I literally felt like I was just ripping my heart out and just verbalizing the emotions that I had spent the last year and a half, 2 years, going through, for my mentor's response to just be, congratulations, welcome to building a business the correct way. And so it really started to open up my eyes and change the perspective on the way that I looked at success. But not only that, like, taking into consideration and appreciating all the learning lessons that I got to where I was. Because again, that $100,000 hit, like, it was still so fresh, so new. Not only that, we had spent, over 7 figures building an organization that we ultimately ended up dismantling, because we realized that was not what our true future was supposed to hold. Like, that was not what was going to produce a legacy for myself, my family, Heather, Lottie. And so throughout this transition, like, it was just all, you approached the opportunity to have a mindset of saying, like, man, we did all this for nothing, right? Like, we have nothing to show for it. Like, we went through all that, spent so many years, like, literally just grinding it out, to now what? Washing our hands of it. But then I started to realize all the lessons that I had learned from there to get to where I was. And it's funny because you hear all these millionaires that are, like, getting interviewed, and someone inevitably asks them, like, if you lost it all, like, do you think you could get it back? And all of them, it's an astounding yes. The confidence is there because it's the lessons they learned to get to where they are. And so for me, like, one of the things that I've really had to pay attention to and learning is, and this is what's so wild, is, like, especially in the industry that we're in with, like, personal and professional development, it's not easy. None of the work is easy. It might be simple. Like, you might know what to do, or you might know how to find that answer, or you might know how to succeed, or whatever the case is. So it might be simple. However, it's not necessarily easy. And especially, like, depending on how far out you put your goal, like, that time horizon, whether it's, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, whatever that looks like, the further you start putting that down, you start to really conceptualize the fact that, okay, it might, this might be a simple 25 years, but it doesn't mean it's going to be an easy 25 years, or whatever the case is. But realistically, through everything that I've seen, building something in the personal and professional development space that is not at all framed for any type of overnight success, and knowing that we're doing things the right way, like building solid foundations, like anything you can think of when it comes to, like, not being surrounded by yes men, like being surrounded by the people that are going to tell you, like, no, man, like, that's not going to work, or I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, this isn't the route you want to go, whatever the case is. Those numbers drastically change. Like I was saying, I've literally firsthand, I was in the front row for this, and hundreds, thousands of people spending millions of dollars collectively for something that derives overnight success. And we're talking high ticket stuff, like 4-figure and up expenses, investments, whatever you want to call it, to where now in the personal and professional development route at a very low ticket price tag, I don't want to say it's crickets. Like, we obviously attract the right type of persona and personality, but it's drastically different. Whereas you go back to the high ticket, like instant gratification, overnight success, you start really playing on that dopamine, and serotonin, like the same exact strategies that the casinos use, and the house always wins. Like I said, one of those platforms is great. Well, all platforms, unless you build your own, is someone else's. And the house is always wins. Now, I'm not upset at people for building platforms and then them winning off of it. But for me, the thing that I've had to pay attention to moving forward in my due diligence process, because again, I've been burned through this journey as well, is it a win-win, right? Because a lot of times the house isn't set up for you to win. Like, casinos aren't set up for you to win, right? And so they give you just enough of the drug to keep you coming back. So for me, moving forward, either building your own platform or finding a platform to create this legacy that is going to set you up for a win-win scenario. Because a lot of times we put the blinders on, the carrot gets dangled in front of us, and we start to get distracted and thrown off our game, because what we're starting to see there is the immediate gratification versus the delayed gratification. And we talked about that today on our roundtable call. Unfortunately, there's a lot of business gurus, coaches out there that are willing to give you the advice to get that instant gratification, so that way you attest that feel-good feeling to the advice that they gave you. Doesn't always necessarily mean that they are right. And, what I mean by that is, one of our guys was getting some advice from a business coach. And don't get me wrong, I don't know the guy, haven't done my due diligence, not the Uncaged guy, the business coach. So I don't even know their name. So I can't give you any sort of, personal response on that. However, I can say outside of that, it reminded me of many other things that I have witnessed firsthand that I'm not a huge fan of, right? And I'm not a anti-guru club. Like, I'm not a guru. Everything that I'm say is regurgitated from someone else, some sort of way. It's just my version of it, right? And so for me, I've seen people that will give you advice that's going to lead you to this short response time. Because as soon as you take advice that someone else has given you, and I applaud you for applying it, because if it falls on deaf ears, then no one wins. But you receive that advice, you go apply that advice, and then you instantly win from it. Whether that's the right decision for you long-term or not, you're still attesting that W to that business guru, that business coach, whatever the case is. And now you start to feel validated for the expenses that you have investing into that program or whatever the case, coaching, whatever. So for me, a lot of times I've realized that saying no more often makes me feel more confident in that I am doing the right thing when it applies to, hey man, it's a no, not right now, because this isn't the move if you want to eventually get to that dream life, that dream goal, whatever the case is. So for me, when I start to evaluate things, it all comes back to what is the true direction that you're wanting to go? Because, this overnight success, it becomes a distraction. And every moment that you stay distracted from your actual dream life, it puts you that much further behind. And I personally, the way I like to look at it is, say, let's just say, for example, my dream life goal is to be living my dream life by 45. Say I get distracted by something, that overnight success, shiny object, whatever the case is, it throws me off my game. And throwing me off my game can either be putting me on the wrong path, or it could be just slowing me down. Like, I'm not being as efficient. I'm starting to take my time, take my foot off the gas, right? Like, I'm headed towards this direction. I get distracted. That distraction pushes me into a different trajectory that, again, like, if I were being cognizant of what my dream life was and keeping it in focus, I would realize that these aren't running parallel. Or it just needs to throw me off my game just a little bit to slow me down. And so now, instead of being 45 living my dream life, because I was too weak to catch myself from getting distracted, maybe I wasn't uneducated or not educated enough on being able to realize that this was a distraction, that now it's 46 before I get to start living my dream life. Like, what would a year of your life look like? Would you be willing to trade a year of your life between now and you living your dream life for whatever this instant gratification, this overnight success, this distraction? Would you be willing to do that? And if I'm being honest, a lot of this distraction, it's not going to only push us back a year. You might be 47, 48, 49, 50. Are you willing to trade 5 years of living in your dream life for whatever this instant gratification is? You know, for example, I mean, I don't want to say I wasted it because it was a learning lesson. We're here now, which I'm grateful for, because I'd rather be learning this lesson now than at 45, which is also why I'm so passionate about getting information like this out there. You know, that's what Uncaged is about. It's getting information like this as accessible to as many people as possible. But here we are, is if I was 45 and now wasting 4 years doing that, like I have in the past, now you're talking about 49, right? It starts pushing that back further and further and further. And so for me, it's like, what is it that you're dealing with right now, personally or professionally, that you literally can view as a distraction? It is giving you excuses to let off the gas. It is giving you excuses to not be as efficient as possible. It's giving you excuses to go down the wrong path. Now, listen, I'm a huge, firm believer. Any of the guys in Uncaged know this, but like, I am very, very adamant on, like, and I'll get crucified for this, we're talking about work-life balance. You can call it work-life balance, life-work balance, work-life integration. I've heard all the different terminology, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I'm all about enjoying the fruits of your labor. I'm all about getting something out of the hard work that you've put in. Like, I'm not with this whole, like, hustle culture. I'm 100% against it. I don't like the movement. I don't like the false reality that it creates. I don't think that it makes you better than anyone else. But for me, like, when there's such a fine line in taking time to appreciate your hard work, to be here and to be supported by your loved ones and living in the memories that you've created, the funds to enjoy, like all that. But then there's also this moment, like, especially as a man, that you know that you're letting your foot off the gas, that you're letting this distraction either validate you for being lazy or whatever the case is. Because there's a very different feeling that you have internally when you know you're headed towards something and that you're doing the work while also being there and being that supportive role for your family, right? I'm a very big advocate of that. Our first Uncaged retreat, no, pardon me, it wasn't our first, it was our second. We're out on the patio drinking coffee with some of the guys on that Sunday morning, and I was telling them, like, one of my newest, goals was to not feel guilty about anything. And I know that sounds, there's not a free pass to go out there and be a piece of shit. It's that, like, throughout life is short, right? And it is creating this culture of, like, having confidence in yourself. Because if I make a decision, and it kind of creates decisiveness, because if I make a decision to spend time with my family, I'm not going to feel guilty about not working. But if I'm going to be working, I'm making a conscious decision not to feel guilty about spending time with my family. Now, a lot of that comes down to efficiency. I got pictures of my wife all up. I'm looking at her all over the place. Like, my wife, my daughter, I get to look at them while I'm working, right? I'm obviously not with them. We have a very close, environment on. I get to see them and spend a lot of time with them, which I'm forever grateful for. But when I'm away from them, it's literally up to me to be performing at my peak level. Because if I'm not, I'm robbing time away from them to come be lazy. Now, with that said, like, this doesn't always mean busyness. I was joking with Drewby. As a visionary, it's wild to me that there can be time blocks in my day for nothing. Just sitting and thinking. Sitting and strategizing. Like literally in quiet, no distractions, just me, a timer, a notebook, whatever the case is. And that could be in my office. That could be, out on the patio. That could be down by the pool, by the beach, and my favorite, bar, whatever the case is. So it comes down to efficiency. It doesn't necessarily mean busyness. So whatever that looks like for you, you just have to know that within that time frame, you are taking time away from your loved ones to perform this task. So now it becomes up to you to make the most amount of value inside that time block to justify taking time away from them. But again, vice versa, you put the work down, you go spend time with the family. Now it's time to be there with them. It is time to be present. It is time to push the distractions away, let go of the guilt, and be a part of your family. And again, I know some of this is a little bit sidebarred from the whole concept of the overnight success, but for me, I truly believe that there is this equal value in the delayed gratification while simultaneously like appreciating where you are, what you have, and the moments that you have at your fingertips. Because, for someone that has been there and seen, my last days, for those of you who know my motorcycle wreck, like this is an opportunity for me now to not take life for granted, which does have me realizing that there's a larger play here instead of always looking for the easy way out, always looking for this overnight success, always looking for what can serve me right here and give me that instant gratification versus actually prioritizing what my goals are, not personally and professionally, but with my family, understanding the mission that we're on, staying committed to the outcome that we have designed around our life, our wants, our needs, the memories that we want to make, the assets that we want to have, the time freedom that we want, the freedom of location and the financial freedom, understanding all of this, that there's all this bigger picture than someone coming in and dangling this little carrot in front of our face, because I promise you the house always wins. So the best thing that I can advise you to is literally getting hyper specific on what your dream life looks like. And if you don't know what your dream life looks like, I highly encourage you to get into the free group, go through the free 30-day challenge. It is imperative, especially the first 5 days, in understanding what this dream life looks like, so that way the more that you can be focused on that, the less likely you will be to be distracted by this overnight success, all this stuff that people come out there and fake it till they make it. They pretend that they're someone that they're not. They want people that could care less about them to give them some sort of approval, to make them feel validated and to give them some sort of self-confidence. Your confidence is going to come from knowing that you understand what you're doing, that you understand the mission that you're on, that you are not going to be distracted. Again, take it from me. Take it from the 6 figures that I've lost learning this lesson. Take it from, unfortunately, the thousands of people that I've seen spend millions of dollars learning the same lesson. I want you to understand that if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. Please reach out to any of the VIP guys. We are here. We want to help people not make the same mistakes that we've made. And I promise you, every one of the guys can give you their own individual. I don't know what their experience was, but they have either been through it, are going through it, or will go through it. where some sort of overnight success, some sort of shiny object came in and it distracted them from their dream life, and now they have to make up for lost time, and now they have to really buckle down and make sure that they don't allow that to reciprocate again. They need to make sure that they are not getting distracted moving forward. So anyways, I hope this helps. Like I said, a soft spot in my heart for it because I've seen it firsthand many different ways, and I really don't want to see anyone else go through it. It sucks. It's not fun. I've seen a lot of people hurt in really bad ways over stuff like this. So reach out if you need to myself, any of the VIP guys. We're here. Get an Uncaged. Go through the free 30-day challenge. If you have any other questions, hop on uncagedcrew.com, and we'll see you inside.